In this life, everyone has moments of exhaustion, moments when they look around and find no one to lean on. There are restless nights with a heart heavy with nameless thoughts. The more one thinks, the more one suffers, the more one worries, the more one feels sad. Amidst the brightly lit city, there are still so many lost hearts. Amidst the bustling laughter and chatter, there are still lonely souls trying to force a smile. It seems everyone in this world is carrying an invisible burden on their shoulders, the burden of anxiety, the burden of responsibility, the burden of things that cannot be said. And then, in the quietest moment of the night, when all sounds fade away and only the sound of one's own sigh remains, we realize how truly tired our hearts are. The more a person matures, the less they speak. The more they experience, the more they remain silent. Because we understand that there are things which, if spoken, no one would comprehend. There are sorrows that only we can understand. Sometimes, one just wants to find a very quiet place, take a very deep breath, to let go of everything that is making the heart restless. Some turn to music, some turn to alcohol, some choose to sit quietly looking out the window, hoping to find a bit of peace. But all those ways are only temporary, because true peace does not lie outside, but within our own minds. The Buddha taught that while the body may be in the middle of the world, the mind must know how to dwell in peace. For if the mind is disturbed, even in a silent temple, the heart remains unquiet. But if the mind is still, even amidst the noisy marketplace of life, the heart remains leisurely and free. Therefore, if you want to find a peaceful sleep, if you want to have a tranquil body and mind, the first thing to do is not to find a place without noise, but to find for yourself a mind free of delusions. Just like a lake, when the water is still, the moon can reflect its image. When a person's mind is calm, they can see their true self. There is a small story that tells of a man who came to a Zen master, complaining that every night he lost sleep, his mind was not at peace, and his intellect was not clear. The Zen master said nothing, only invited him to sit down and poured a cup of hot tea. The steam rose, and the gentle fragrance spread in the silent space. The master slowly asked, "Do you hear the sound of the boiling water?" The man nodded. "Do you see the fragrance of the tea spreading?" The man nodded again. The master smiled. "Then, your mind is here, listening and feeling. When your mind is in the present, you no longer fear the past. Do not worry about the future, and do not think about winning or losing. Then you will be able to sleep." Sometimes the reason we find it hard to sleep is not because the body is tired, but because the mind refuses to let go. We worry about tomorrow. We regret things from yesterday. We are angry at those who hurt us. We reproach ourselves for things that are not yet perfect. When the mind holds too much, how can there be room for peace to dwell? It is like a room that is too cramped. If we keeping old things, no matter how hard we try to clean, it can never be tidy. Only when we know how to discard, how to arrange neatly, how to let go, do we have space to breathe, to smile, to sleep, a truly peaceful sleep. Ancient people said, "When the mind is at peace, all things are at peace." That saying seems simple but is a great truth. When the mind is calm, even adversity becomes a favorable condition. When the mind is still, even a storm is just passing clouds. Just like a clear pond, even if a rainstorm comes and creates waves, when the rain passes, the water becomes still again as before. A person's mind is the same. It cannot avoid storms, but one can learn how to let the heart settle down. Therefore, if today your soul is still entangled in worldly dust, if your eyes are tired from worries, close your eyes, take a very slow, deep breath, and feel each stream of cool air entering the body. Listen to your heartbeat. Listen to the breath going in and out as gently as a small stream. Let your mind follow your breath, letting go of every thought, every sorrow. Every word, every sound from the Buddha's teachings about to resonate will be like drops of nectar, washing away troubles and cooling souls that are drying up. In that moment, there is only you and yourself, only breath and silence, no more noisy sounds of life, no more worries about tomorrow. There is only peace spreading throughout the body and mind. That is when you truly step into the realm of stillness, a place where the Buddha's teachings are not just doctrines, but fresh water nourishing the soul. Listen, so that each word becomes a light, illuminating the consciousness, so that tonight you can sleep very well, very deeply, very peacefully. The Buddha taught that all things in life arise from causes and conditions and conclude with retribution. Nothing happens by chance, nor does any good thing come from luck. Whichever seed is sown, that fruit will manifest. Those who do good will have blessings, follow them like a shadow follows a form. Those who do evil will have karmic consequences, pursue them like a form follows a shadow. Everything in the world has a cause. It is just that some realize it early, some realize it late. Some think they can escape cause and effect, but in reality, they are just walking within the chain of their own causes and conditions. Therefore, when understanding the law of cause and effect, people will live more virtuously, speak kind words, and think good thoughts. Because they know that every intention that arises is sowing a seed into the spiritual soil of their own. In life, there are those who suffer without understanding why, working much but receiving little, trying hard but still seeing no results. There are also kind, hard-working people whose lives keep encountering many hardships. They complain, they feel sad, they ask why heaven is so unfair. But the Buddha taught that heaven is not unfair. It is just that karmic fruits have not ripened evenly. Some fruits ripen early, some ripen late. Some seeds sown today may take many lifetimes to harvest. Therefore, when we encounter suffering, look back at ourselves. Ask ourselves what we have done, what we have thought, if we have ever made anyone feel heartbroken. Because karma is not only created by actions, but also by words, even by thoughts. One thought of anger gives birth to 1,000 evil karmas. One thought of compassion arising can dissolve countless unvirtuous things. The Buddha taught, if you want to know the causes in past lives, look at the results in this life. If you want to know the results in future lives, look at the causes in the present. That teaching seems simple, but contains a whole treasure of wisdom. When we know how to reflect on ourselves, how to recognize cause and effect, we will no longer have hatred. Because we understand that what we are receiving today are the lessons from what we once sowed. Those who do bad things to harm others, sooner or later, must pay. Those who do good things to help the world, blessings will eventually come. Cause and effect does not favor anyone. It does not ignore us because we are poor, nor does it prioritize us because we are rich. Water flows downward, rain falls, plants are green or withered depending on the initial seeds sown. Life is the same. Those who sow kindness have a peaceful mind, a peaceful body, and their sleep is also quiet. Those who sow evil thoughts, even lying on a warm bed, will still have fitful nightmares. There is a small story in a remote countryside, at a small market by the river, where every morning the calls of sellers echo. Among them was an old woman named Tu. Everyone called her Grandma Tu, the vegetable seller. Grandma Tu lived alone, over 60 years old, all year round carrying vegetables from her home garden to the market to sell. Her vegetables were always fresh and washed clean. But the special thing was that every day she set aside a small, most beautiful bunch of vegetables to give to an old beggar at the corner of the market. That old man was frail, with blurred vision, having no relatives, surviving day by day on bowls of rice given by compassionate people. Every day was the same. Seeing Grandma Tu from afar, the old man would smile kindly, clasping his hands and saying, "Wish you a busy day of selling." Grandma too would smile back. "I only give you some vegetables. It is nothing to be grateful for." Many neighbors in the market saw this. Some laughed and mocked. Grandma too, vegetables are cheap as dirt. The profit is not worth much, and you still give them away for free. Are you foolish? She only smiled, her voice light as the wind. "No matter, I have a little extra to help someone through a meal. It is no loss." Then, one year, a long dry season came. The weather was hot as fire. One noon, a fire broke out from a corner of the market because someone carelessly knocked over a charcoal stove. In just a moment, the fire spread wide, burning down almost the entire row of stalls. Everyone panicked and cried out, tears mixing with smoke. When the fire was extinguished, people looked back and were surprised to see that only Grandma Two's vegetable stall remained intact. The goods were not burned. The tin roof above was only slightly scorched by smoke, but not destroyed at all. People whispered, "Is it true that everywhere burned?" But Grandma Two's stall did not. Grandma Two only quietly wiped her sweat, clasped her hands, bowed her head and said softly, "It is the blessing of that old beggar." That simple sentence made the whole market go silent. Everyone remembered the image of Grandma Two giving away the freshest bunch of vegetables every day. And from then on, no one called her foolish anymore. People said to each other, "Good deeds are rewarded with good results. Blessings are not lost. They just wait for the day to bloom." That story quickly spread throughout the region. Some believed, some doubted, but everyone felt in their hearts as if a lamp had just been lit. Because clearly, a kind heart is never in vain. Every good deed, every kind thought, is a seed of blessing sown into the soil of causes and conditions. Although it may not bear fruit today, when conditions are sufficient, the tree of blessings will bloom, just like a seed lying in the earth, silently germinating, until it meets favorable rain and wind. It will rise strongly. Blessings are the same, not seen, but still proliferating. Through Grandma Two's story, we see clearly one thing. Cause and effect is not false. Heaven and earth know those who do good deeds. We might think just a bunch of vegetables is small and insignificant, but that sincere heart turns into a great virtuous karma. Karma does not distinguish between large or small. It only looks at the heart of the doer. If the heart is compassionate, even a small deed becomes a blessing. If the heart is selfish, even a large deed generates no merit. The Buddha taught that one bowl of rice given with a pure heart is more precious than 1,000 taels of gold given for show, because the power of kindness lies in the heart, not in the form. In Buddhism, karma is not a punishment but a reflection. It is like a mirror reflecting back everything we have created. When we smile at someone, they will smile back. When we bring bad things to someone, they will come back to find us in another way. It may not be immediate, it may have to go through many lifetimes, but every cause will produce its effect. Therefore, those who understand the way do not blame heaven or people, do not blame circumstances, but look back at themselves. When encountering suffering, they do not ask why they suffer, but ask what cause they have sown. When encountering favor, they are not self-satisfied, but know how to be thankful, how to dedicate merit to maintain blessings lastingly. The Buddha once said, "No wind can tilt a mountain, just as no karma can harm a person who keeps a kind heart. The mind is the root of karma. If one keeps a kind and peaceful mind, evil karma will gradually dissolve. There are people who once did wrong, once caused hurt, but when they know how to repent, how to turn back, how to do good, their karma will also lighten. Because repentance is not just words, but an action of change. Like a person who once poured dirty water into a river, if they continue to pour, the water remains murky. But if they stop and know how to filter it clean, the river will become clear again. The world operates according to the law of causes and conditions. Everything has a cause, a time, and its own result. Sometimes we do good deeds but do not see blessings yet. Do not be in a hurry to be sad, because good fruits need time to ripen, like sowing seeds in spring and harvesting fruit in autumn. There are also times when bad things happen and we think it is a calamity, but afterward it opens up another, better opportunity. Therefore, do not be in a hurry to conclude whether something is lucky or unlucky. Everything is a cause and condition leading us in the right direction. When understanding this, we will stop being angry and jealous. Seeing others succeed, we are not envious because we know they are enjoying the blessings they once sowed. Seeing someone encounter suffering, we do not mock because we know that is the result they must pay. But we also understand that every cause can be transformed. The Buddha taught that practice is to transform karma. When we develop a kind heart, keep precepts, do good, and speak loving words, then old bad karma will gradually fade and new blessings will gradually arise. Just like murky water, if we continuously pour clear water in, at some point it will become clear by itself. Therefore, every night before going to sleep, spend a little time reflecting on yourself. Ask what words we spoke today that made someone happy or made someone sad. What did we do that created good karma or bad karma? If we accidentally did wrong, sincerely repent and vow to do better tomorrow. When the heart is directed toward kindness, sleep will be peaceful because there is no more remorse or hatred. When the heart knows love and how to let go, we will feel as light as the wind. Remember that those who sow kindness meet kindness. Those who sow evil meet suffering. No one can escape the law of cause and effect, but everyone can transform it. A human life is like a river. There are times when the water is murky and times when it is clear. The important thing is knowing how to direct the flow toward the light. If every night we sow a kind intention, say a word of thanks, do a small deed to help someone, then every morning when waking up, life will be a bit lighter, a bit more peaceful. The Buddha said, "When the mind is at peace, the body is at peace. When the body is at peace, all things are smooth. When both body and mind are still, luck will come and convenience will follow. So tonight, when you close your eyes, let all the worries of the day vanish like thin smoke. Believe that every good deed you have done, no matter how small, is silently protecting you. Know that every loving word, every smile you give, is a seed of blessing germinating in this vast universe. Then, one day, when blessings are sufficient and karma is exhausted, you will find yourself at peace in every breath, light in every sleep. That is the sweet fruit of a kind heart, the reward of those who know how to live according to the Buddha's teachings, knowing how to sow kindness in every moment. Now, amidst the passing wind, amidst the silence of the night, let the Buddha's words soak into your heart. Let each gentle sound lead you into a peaceful sleep. Because cause and effect does not lie outside of us, but in every thought that arises. Sowing kind thoughts, life will be good. Sowing a peaceful heart, the night will be quiet. Sowing compassion, blessings will come. And then, sleep is not just the rest of the body, but also the tranquility of the mind, a peace that only those who understand the law of cause and effect and live kindly can have. The Buddha taught that sowing one kind seed leads to a lifetime of good flowers. Sowing one evil seed leads to many lifetimes of harvesting bitter fruit. But the fruit does not favor anyone. It does not come early, nor does it come late. It only waits for sufficient conditions to manifest. In this life, there are things we do and then forget, but heaven, earth, causes, conditions, and karmic power do not forget. Good karma is like a stream of fresh water, silently soaking deep, nourishing good things in life. Evil karma is like a hidden fire. When conditions are sufficient, it will flare up, burning even what we cherish. Therefore, those who know how to practice, who know how to live kindly, will not be afraid of adversity. Because they understand that all are formed by causes and conditions, everything has a reason to appear. Some say doing good while seeking rewards is no longer kindness. But if there is no seeking, and good fruit still comes, that is true kindness. Therefore, those who study the Buddha's way do not do good because they want to be repaid, but because they want to sow good causes for the future. Body and mind become light and peaceful. In every breath, every action, every word, a cause can be sown. A kind word, a small action, sometimes becomes the cause and condition to save someone. Sometimes is the bridge between suffering and happiness. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha once taught that no good deed is lost. Though as small as a grain of sand in the desert, when conditions are sufficient, it will bloom like a green sprout piercing through the parched earth. That saying reminds us that although the world changes and human hearts are complex, the principle of cause and effect always exists like a law of the universe. Heaven naturally protects those with a kind heart. Those who perform evil, no matter where they hide, karma will find them. Nowadays, amidst the worries of life, sometimes we mistakenly think that good does not triumph over evil, that good people often suffer losses while the dishonest enjoy benefits. But that is only a view in a short moment, because cause and effect is not measured by days or months, but by heart and conditions. There must be causes and conditions for fruit to be produced. Those who sow good causes but meet bad conditions will not see the results immediately. But that seed is still there. Waiting for a day with enough sun and rain, it will germinate. Today's story is a testament to that principle. The story of a scholar and a debt of gratitude from 20 years ago. That story is as simple as a river flowing through a village, but contains within it a profound lesson about kindness, cause and effect, and the miracle of goodness. That day, on a cold, rainy night, the sky was black as ink. Only the flickering light of oil lamps reflected from thatched houses by the river. Scholar Nguyen Van Khai had just returned from a lecture at school. The village road was flooded, the ground muddy, the north wind blowing freezing cold. As he passed by a small wooden bridge over the river, he heard a desperate cry. A woman had slipped and fallen into the rushing water. Without hesitation, he rushed over, threw off his long robe, and jumped in to save her. The murky water flowed strongly, but with strength and calmness, he brought the woman to shore. The woman trembled, her face pale, unable to speak. He only took off his coat, wrapped it around her, and said softly, "Go home, the night is cold. Keeping one's life is more precious than anything." When she wanted to ask his name, he only smiled, shook his head, and quietly left. To him, saving people was as natural as breathing, needing no record, needing no repayment. 20 years passed. Nguyen Van Khai was now a renowned scholar. He lectured everywhere, respected by the world. But life is inherently impermanent. No one can predict when storms will come. During a lecture on public service ethics, he was envied by bad people and falsely accused of taking bribes. That slander spread quickly, making the reputation he built his whole life suddenly shake. He was investigated, dismissed from his position, and faced the risk of going to prison. People gossiped, everyone stayed away. He still kept a calm heart, only saying, "If I did not do wrong, then heaven knows, earth knows, the truth will eventually be clear." But the road to clearing his name was not easy. Without money, without power, he only had faith in cause and effect, and a peaceful heart. On the day of the trial, amidst the crowd, a young lawyer stood up and asked to defend him. That person was named Tran Min. His eyes were bright and clear, his voice firm. He said, "I believe this man is innocent. I take the responsibility to prove it. During the days of debate, Tran Minh worked tirelessly day and night, finding enough evidence, investigating each witness. Finally, the truth was revealed, and the slanderer was exposed. Nguyen Van Khai was exonerated. On the day of sentencing, when everyone was leaving, Scholar Khai walked over, clasped his hands in thanks. He said, "Thank you, young man. You saved me from injustice. I do not know what to give in return." Tran Minh smiled and replied, "Dear teacher, my mother once told me that her lifesaver is the person I must protect with my whole life. 20 years ago, you saved my mother from the cold river. Today I am just returning that to you." Hearing that, Nguyen Van Khai was stunned. He looked at the young man in front of him, suddenly seeing everything as a complete circle. His tears fell slightly, but they were not tears of sorrow, but tears of gratitude and emotion. He understood that cause and effect is not a miracle, but the extension of kind actions through years, through lives, and through unspoken connections. After the trial, he often told his students to sow kindness, even if small. Do not ask when the fruit will come. The fruit may not come immediately, but it is never lost. That saying became a great lesson for many generations. Through this story, we understand that kindness is a type of light. It needs no ostentation, no need for others to know. It only quietly illuminates, going through time, through trials, and then returning when conditions are sufficient. Ancient people said good deeds are rewarded, evil deeds are punished. It is just a matter of time. Indeed, it is so. The kindness we sow today may not bring anything immediate, but it will bloom into a good thing in the future. In Buddhist teachings, cause and effect is not just a punishment or reward. It is a reflection of the mind. When we do good, our mind is bright and our intellect is clear. When we do evil, our mind is defiled and our intellect is blurred. The fruit does not lie outside, but in our own thoughts. Every time we give rise to a kind thought, we have changed our own destiny. Every time we give rise to an evil thought, we have created suffering for ourselves. Those who know how to practice are those who know how to choose seeds for the mind. They do not choose hatred, do not choose jealousy, but choose love, forgiveness, and gratitude, because they understand that if the mind is the soil, then every seed will germinate. Kind seeds bloom flowers, evil seeds grow thorns. Whatever we sow, life returns to us. For that reason, wise people do not complain. When encountering suffering, they understand it is the fruit of past causes. When encountering luck, they know it is the result of good conditions sown. They are not arrogant when gaining, nor sad when losing, because they believe everything is guided by cause and effect. What comes, let it come. What goes, let it go. Like a flowing river, it cannot keep any drop of water, but nourishes the whole plain. In life today, sometimes we are tired because kindness seems to be forgotten. But if we keep a kind mind and keep faith, then heaven and earth will have a way to arrange things. Kindness is not lost, only temporarily hidden. Good karma does not perish, only waits for the day to bloom. Believe that every good deed we do today, no matter how small, is a prayer sent to the high heavens. We may not see the results immediately, but somewhere, someone has been saved, warmed, and suffered less thanks to our kind mind. And when conditions meet, that blessing will return in another form, gentle but profound, like the way Scholar Khai was saved, thanks to the very cause he once sowed. Therefore, before sleeping, close your eyes and think of the good things you have done in the day. It could be a smile for a stranger, a word of comfort, an action to help someone. All are kind seeds. When the mind is directed toward good things, sleep will be quiet, the body will be still, and life will gradually brighten. Those who sow kindness do not need to pray for luck, because luck finds them. Those who live kindly Do not fear suffering, because suffering is just a condition to learn a greater lesson. Remember that cause and effect does not leave us even for a second. Every thought, every word, every action is weaving the thread of our life. If we weave with kindness, the cloth of life will be bright. If we weave with evil, it will be blurred and torn. Therefore, choose love, choose forgiveness, choose gratitude, so that every night when lying down the mind is at peace, the heart is still, and sleep is complete. Pray for all who are listening to these Buddha's teachings tonight to be peaceful, to sleep in peace, and wake up in the light of a new day, full of good conditions. Under the gentle moonlight, the sound of the temple bell resonates amidst the silence of the night. The listener seems to return to themselves. Listening to the Buddha's teachings on causes, conditions, and karmic results. The Buddha once said, "Those who sow good causes, though passing through 1,000 lifetimes, good fruits will still bloom. Those who sow evil causes, though hiding at the end of the sky, bitter fruits will still find them." Therefore, every time our hearts are filled with hatred, every time we feel we are at a loss, ask ourselves, could this be an old debt? A past condition returning to be resolved? In human life, no one meets by chance. Every meeting, every relationship is a cause and condition from distant past lives still remaining. In the infinite cycle of reincarnation, no one escapes the law of cause and effect. Some live kindly, but encounter suffering. Some once created karma, but now are wealthy. It is not that heaven is unfair, but that causes and conditions are not yet complete, and karmic retribution is not yet sufficient. When the fruit is not yet ripe, people think cause and effect is not real, but like a seed lying deep in the ground, just waiting for enough sun and rain, it will germinate. Life is the same. Every action, every thought, no matter how small, sows causes and conditions for tomorrow. Therefore, instead of complaining or blaming, live kindly, know how to let go, because compassion is the only way to help us resolve all old karma. Long ago, in Quang region, there was a merchant named Lam Hu Puok. He was famous as a virtuous person, doing business honestly, respected by many. One day, he bought from the horse market a skinny, weak horse at a cheap price. The seller said this horse was obedient and hard-working, just needing good care to help him in long-distance trade. But strangely, from the moment he brought it home, the horse always acted unruly. It often tried to kick and bite, even tearing the rope to run straight outside. Mr. Phuoc was a kind person, not having the heart to hit it, only saying softly, "You have come to me, which means there is a condition. I will care for you thoughtfully," hoping that one day you understand a person's heart. But strangely, the kinder he was to it, the more ferocious the horse became. The workers in the house told him, better sell it, keeping it might lead to being harmed one day. But he only smiled. Everything in the world has a reason. I believe it came to me to teach me something. One afternoon, while he was leading the horse to the stream for water, he happened to meet a monk passing by. The monk stopped, looked at the horse for a long time, and then said slowly, "Sadhu, Sadhu, this horse did not come to you without a cause. In a past life, you once had a pair of shoes stolen by someone while trading in a strange land. That person later carried heavy regret. When they died, they vowed, if there is a next life, I wish to be an animal to pay the debt to that person. Now that causes and conditions have met, he is reborn as a horse to pay the debt. But because the mind is not yet still, and there are still thoughts of resentment, he behaves ferociously like that. Give him time and treat him with compassion." Mr. Phuoc heard this, and his heart felt lighter. From that day on, he treated the horse even better. He did not make it carry heavy goods, often personally caring for it, stroking it, and talking to it like a friend. Gradually, the horse changed. It was no longer ferocious. Its eyes became gentle, and every time he approached, it bowed its head as if in thanks. People in the village saw this and said, "He must have great merit, so that even animals are moved." Many years passed. The horse became old and weak, and one autumn morning it lay down, breathed gently, and passed away. Mr. Fuok buried it under the mango tree behind the house, feeling some pity but not sadness. That night he dreamed of a man in cloth clothes kneeling before him, saying tearfully, "In a past life I stole your shoes, making you suffer on the road. Now I have paid the debt. Thank you for your compassion in not hating me. Thanks to that tolerance, I have been liberated." Then the man bowed 3 times and vanished into the light. From that dream, Mr. Fuok woke up with tears flowing. He understood that whatever comes to us, whether person or animal, whether favor or resentment, is not outside of cause and effect. It is not only humans who have souls, but all creatures have consciousness. When we treat them with kindness and compassion, that energy spreads, helping to resolve grievances from past lives. Mr. Lam Hu Pok's story makes people reflect. Sometimes those who make us suffer are those who come to pay debts to us. They may hurt us, make us suffer, but right in that suffering we learn how to forgive, how to love without condition. If Mr. Pok chose to beat or hate the horse, perhaps that resentment would continue in the next life. But because he chose compassion, that karma was resolved, and that person was liberated. As for him, his mind was at peace, and blessings increased. The Buddha once taught, "Hatred cannot end hatred, only compassion can end hatred." That is an eternal law. When we understand this, we no longer cling or resent, because we know that everyone in our life is a lesson. Some teach us faith, some teach us patience, some teach us to let go, and some teach us to love unconditionally. All are causes and conditions. Therefore, if one day you are betrayed, cursed, or hurt by someone, do not be in a hurry to resent. Perhaps they are your old debt from a past life. If you pay with hatred, then the debt continues. But if you pay with forgiveness, the debt is resolved. Believe that every time we choose kindness, we are cutting a thread of karma in the cycle of reincarnation. Cause and effect is not wrong. It is just that humans are not patient enough to wait. When we sow good causes, though the fruit has not yet manifested, continue to do good things. Like a person sowing seeds cannot demand flowers to bloom as soon as the seeds are scattered on the ground. Trust in time, because kind causes will bear flowers when conditions are sufficient. And when night comes, before closing your eyes to sleep, think of those who made you feel troubled. Do not resent nor remember. Just smile slightly and say in your heart, "If this is an old debt, I pay it with love. If this is a good condition, I vow to continue cultivating it." When the mind is no longer entangled, sleep will be peaceful, and tomorrow morning you will see life being gentler. Because cause and effect is not just about past or future lives, it is happening in every moment, in every thought, in every word and action. When your mind is at peace, all old karma is resolved. When your heart is kind, blessings naturally arise. Those who know how to forgive never lose. Those who have compassion never suffer. Therefore, sleep in peace. Because you have understood that all conditions are to be resolved, everyone who comes to you carries a mission. Do not resent anyone. Do not hate anyone. Be grateful because they helped you pay debts, helped you learn the word let go for a light body and mind, and a quiet sleep. And tomorrow luck and convenience will come as naturally as breathing. That is the profound meaning of cause and effect. Paying debts for a light heart, living kindly for a peaceful life. And when you understand like that, each sleep will be a time you return in peace, wrapped in healing energy. so that every morning your mind is as clear as the early morning sun, illuminating all paths of cause and effect. In this life, there are things that seem small, but contain the profound wisdom of the way. The Buddha taught that a person sowing one seed of kindness will harvest a forest of peaceful flowers. When we give joy, it is when we are cultivating merit. When we help others be happy, it is also when we are creating an environment for ourselves to be peaceful. All are connected, like waves spreading on a lake. Happiness is not something to hold tightly to possess, but is like a flow of water. Only when flowing is it clear, cool, and able to nourish all species. In Buddhism, compassion is considered the foundation of all good karma. Metta is to give joy. Karuna is to save from suffering. When we do good things, it is not just hoping others are grateful, but because the mind naturally feels peaceful and light. Sometimes just a good word, a small action, is enough to change someone's life. And from that healing energy, the universe will respond with tranquility, with convenience, with invisible blessings that the naked eye cannot see. The Buddha taught that a flower cannot radiate its fragrance alone in the wind, but must have other flowers blooming together, spreading together, and connecting fragrance and color. Humans are the same. Living in the world, one cannot be isolated, cannot only know oneself. The more one knows how to share, the greater the blessings. The more one knows how to give, the fuller the mind. Those who hold on tightly, fearing loss, will lose more. Those who dare to open their hearts, dare to let go, will gain more. That is the paradox that only those with wisdom realize. Long ago, in the southwestern region, there was an old farmer named Sao Bin. Everyone in the area knew him as a kind, hard-working person with very cool hands. Whatever he planted grew well. Whatever seed he sowed sprouted lush green. Especially, he had a famous variety of sweet corn. His corn had golden grains, large and round, tasting crunchy, fragrant, and much sweeter than everyone else's corn. Every year, people in the region came to ask to buy seeds to plant, but many were also hesitant, fearing he would keep the secret to himself. However, contrary to their thoughts, Mr. Sao was very happy. Whoever came to ask, he took from the seed bag, chose the best seeds to give personally, and instructed how to sow and care. Someone asked him, "Mr. Sao, you give people such good seeds. What if later everyone can grow it? Will your corn still sell for a good price?" He smiled kindly, his eyes lined with wrinkles but bright like the river water in the sun, slowly saying, "The wind blows pollen everywhere. If other people's corn is bad, and the pollen blows over to my field, my corn will also be ruined. Only when the neighbors' fields are good, and their seeds are good, and the wind carries that pollen to my field, will my corn be even tastier. Helping others grow good corn is helping my own field be better." That saying made the listener wake up. It turns out helping others is not losing anything, but making the environment around oneself become healthy and good. From that, one also benefits. Like Mr. Sao, he understood the operating law of nature as well as the law of cause and effect. When everyone is good, I cannot be bad. When everyone is happy, I cannot suffer. So, from year to year, he continued to share his precious corn seeds throughout the region. To the poor he gave for free. To those better off, he only took a bit of symbolic money. Anyone who came to learn, he wholeheartedly taught. He said, "Plants, heaven and earth, rainwater are all given to us without calculation. Humans, if they only know how to keep their own part, are no different from a stagnant pond. Sooner or later, it becomes murky. Only when knowing how to flow, how to share, does the water stay clear." Thanks to that heart, before long, the whole land around Mr. Sao's house was filled with the yellow color of corn. Everyone's corn was sweet, everyone's field was good. People began to call that area the Blessed Corn Village because every house was well fed and every season was a success. Someone asked Mr. Sao, "Why are you so lucky? All year round the rain and wind are favorable, never a crop failure." He only smiled. "Because I do not wish for myself alone. I wish for the whole village to be good. When everyone is healthy, heaven also loves." One year, there was a severe drought in the region. Many places had no water for irrigation, but Mr. Sao's fields and the fields near him were still lush green. People around rumored that he had heaven-sent blessings, but he only said that it was shared blessing. When everyone lives well, knows how to help each other, kind energy spreads, and heaven and earth naturally harmonize. That is cause and effect. Truly, life is like a field. If only one corner is cared for while the rest is neglected, then the wind will bring dust and pests to the very place we protect. But if everyone cares, everyone cultivates, then the whole field is green. When we help others live well, we are protecting our own happiness. The Buddha once taught, helping others is helping oneself. Harming others is harming oneself. A person's mind is like a mirror, reflecting all of one's own actions. When we sow joy for others, our mind opens, wisdom is brighter, and merit is thicker. When we are selfish and jealous, our heart narrows, and that energy returns to make us suffer. The story of Mr. Sao and the shared seed is a vivid testament to that principle. He did not study the Buddha through letters, did not know scriptures, but lived with a Buddha heart. Because the Buddha does not lie in the temple, but in the heart of the person who knows how to love, how to give, how to live in harmony with all things. The meaning of the story lies not only in sharing seeds, but also as a metaphor for how humans should treat each other in life. That seed is the kind mind. It is love. When we sow that seed into the hearts of others, it will germinate, will bloom in their hearts, and then spread back to us. People help people, life helps life. This universe is a cycle of kind intentions. That shows that blessings are not born from hoarding, but from spreading. Many people think the more they keep, the more they have. But the reality is, the more they keep, the more they lose. Like a drop of water, if it does not flow, it will smell. Like a corn plant, if there is no wind to carry pollen, it will never bear ears. Life is the same. To be happy, let happiness be spread. Through that, we understand that kindness is never a loss. Giving is the way to receive more. But what is received back is not material things, but peace in the mind, is the invisible luck following us for a lifetime. When we know how to help people, heaven helps us. When we know how to think for people, people also think for us. That is the cycle of cause and effect, the miracle of compassion. Therefore, every time we see someone needing help, even if it is a small thing, help with a joyful heart. No need to think that we are bestowing a favor. See it as if doing it for yourself. When helping people, think we are sowing a seed of blessing. When praising people, think we are spreading flowers on the path. When forgiving, think we are unlocking our own heart. Those who know how to give never suffer. Those who know how to share never suffer. Because when we live with a wide heart, blessings are born from there. When we live with a narrow heart, karma increases from there. This life does not need much calculation, just need to know how to love, how to think, how to live truly kindly. Naturally, everything will be favorable. So every night before sleeping, think about today. Who did we help to be happy? What words did we say that made others feel light-hearted? What good thing did we share? If yes, smile, because that is a blessing germinating. If not, do not be sad. Just give rise to a kind intention, and tomorrow there will be another opportunity. Remember that happiness does not come from what we have, but from what we give away. Like Mr. Sao, the more he gave, the more he received. Not material things, but joy, peace, and the hearts of people who love him. That is the sweet fruit of a kind seed. Therefore, tonight when you lie down, let your heart settle. Think that in the future we will also be like Mr. Sao, sowing a good seed in the heart of another person. It could be a kind word, a smile, or perhaps just patience. Though small, when the wind of causes and conditions blows by, it will fly far and then return, making your life sweeter. Believe, the universe never fails a kind person. Believe, helping people is sowing blessings. Believe, living kindly is the only way for the body and mind to be tranquil, for sleep to be good, to wake up tomorrow in luck and the light of compassion. Because when we know how to share, we are harmonizing with the breath of heaven and earth. And in that breath, the mind is at peace, life is at peace, and blessings are forever full. The Buddha taught that there are 4 types of people in life. There are those who go from darkness into darkness. There are those who from darkness come into the light. There are those who from light go into darkness. And there are those who from light still keep themselves in the light. It sounds simple. But hidden in those 4 types of people are 4 paths of the mind, 4 paths of cause and effect that each of us is walking on, whether unconsciously or intentionally. Some are born in suffering and then live in suffering only to die in the darkness of ignorance. Some were once mistaken, once fell into the deep pit of sin, but thanks to one thought of a kind heart, they turned back to find the light within themselves. There are also those who once lived kindly, were once respected, but then because of greed, anger, and delusion, they lost their humanity and the light in their mind. And there are also those born in the light, living in the light, keeping a pure and kind mind until they close their eyes, leaving a fragrance of life as fresh as a lotus amidst the mud. In the silence of the night, when the small lamp flickers in the corner of the room, let us try to look back at our life to see which type of person we belong to among those 4 types. Sometimes we think we are in the light, but in reality we have been covered by the dust of ego attachment, anger, and delusion. Also, sometimes in the darkest days, just one word of awakening, one kind thought arising, is enough to illuminate the whole path. The road ahead of a human life is like a journey where light or darkness is the direction we choose in every thought, every word, every small daily action. The Buddha taught the mind is like a lamp. If well kept, the light shines everywhere. If neglected, the wind of karma blows it out. Therefore, wise people do not look for light outside but find it within their own hearts. There are those who go their whole life seeking peace in temples, in distant pilgrimage trips, without knowing that peace actually only needs a silent breath, a thought of knowing how to stop, a heart that knows how to love. When the mind is bright, darkness also turns into a path to learn, to understand, to let go. When the mind is dark, even standing amidst a golden temple or a palace, light cannot shine in. Therefore, the important thing is not where we are, but where our mind is directed. There is a very beautiful story about a woman named Han. She was born in a poor rural area in the central region. Her childhood passed between scorching sun and storms. Since childhood, Han had to struggle, growing up and marrying early. Then, because of lack, she fell into gambling. In the late market afternoons, Han sat at the tea stall at the entrance of the village, her eyes red, her hands trembling, holding lottery tickets, hoping luck would change her life. But life did not change. She only saw debts piling up day by day. Her husband could not stand the poverty, went to work far away, and never returned. Han alone carried a large debt on her shoulders, both caring for 2 small children and enduring the gossip of the neighbors. Every night was the same. Han could not sleep. She tossed and turned, her head filled only with debt numbers and reproachful voices. Once, because of being too tired, Han thought about seeking death. But right at that moment, she heard the temple bell resonating in the wind. The bell was like touching her heart, like an invisible hand gently waking her up. The next morning, she sought the small temple at the entrance of the village, where there was a gentle nun who often taught people to chant the Buddha's name and meditate. At first, Han only sat silently listening, her heart still full of storms. But the nun said, "Try to breathe lightly, look at your own breath. When you breathe in, know you are breathing in. When you breathe out, know you are breathing out. Each breath is a miracle because it gives you another chance to live." At that moment, Han cried, tears flowing not because of suffering, but because she realized she had never truly lived. Over the past years, she only ran after money, after luck, after illusions, and forgot the breath, forgot herself. From that day on, Han began to go to the temple regularly. She practiced meditation, practiced chanting, and learned to let go little by little. Every time she was sad, she came to sit under the Bodhi tree behind the temple, looking at falling leaves, listening to the wind, and then smiling gently. She began to pay debts in another way, not only paying money debts, but paying the debt of life, paying the debt to herself with sincerity and repentance. Han asked to do voluntary work, helping to cook for the poor, helping lonely elderly people. The neighbors gradually changed their view. No one called her Han the gambler anymore, but called her by the affectionate name, Han the kind heart. A few years later, she built a small tea stall in front of the temple, specializing in serving pilgrims for free. To each person who came, she greeted them with a kind smile. When someone asked why she did this without taking money, Han only replied, "In the past, I went from darkness into darkness. Now I only want to go from darkness into light. I know when I help others feel refreshed, my own heart is also refreshed." Han's story makes us understand more clearly the four types of people in life. The first type of person from darkness into darkness are those who have lived in ignorance and do not want to get out. They do wrong, know it is wrong, but still continue. Because their minds are obscured by greed, anger, and delusion, they are like people walking in the night, seeing a lamp in the distance, but turning their faces away because they are afraid the light will expose their faults. The second type of person from darkness into light like Han, they were once lost, once fell, but had the courage to turn back. They understand that darkness is not scary. What is scary is when we refuse to open our eyes to see the light. Just one kind thought, one word of repentance, one kind action is enough to change one's whole destiny. Because karma is created by us, it is also transformed by us. The third type of person from light into darkness are those who once lived in blessings, once did good things, but then because of arrogance and greed, they lost themselves. There are wealthy people who once did good, but when praised by others, they gave rise to a conceited heart and were gradually swept into fame and power. They forget that light is not for show, but to show the way. When light is covered by the ego, even with gold and silver filling the house, the heart is still dark. And finally, the fourth type of person from light into light. Those are the people born with kind seeds and who know how to keep those seeds until the end of life. They are not moved by praise or blame, not swayed by money, fame, or power. They live simply and happily, know how to love people, know how to help the world, and when leaving this world, they leave a warm light in the hearts of others. 4 types of people, 4 paths. Where are we on that journey? It is possible that today we are in the dark, but if there is faith and a kind heart, we can still come into the light. It is also possible that today we are in the light, but if we are negligent, we will go into the dark. Human life is impermanent. Everything changes. Therefore, be awake in every moment, because just one light thought and the darkness is gone. Through Han's story, we see that light does not come from anywhere far away. It comes from realization. Realizing faults, realizing suffering, realizing the wrong path we are walking on, and having the courage to stop. That stopping is the first step of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a high and distant thing, but when we understand cause and effect, understand that everything that happens is a lesson for us to return to ourselves. If our mind is kind, then suffering also turns into good soil for the seeds of joy to germinate. If our mind is dark, then even living in wealth, the heart is still not at peace. Therefore, do not complain about life. Do not blame anyone. Look into the mind. Look at the seeds we sow every day. Choose to sow kind seeds, even if small, because one kind seed today can bloom into a brilliant light tomorrow. The Buddha taught no one can save us except ourselves. Han saved her own life, not by magic, but by awakening. Like an oil lamp, just need to be lit one more time. Though the wind blows, it can still burn bright. If we keep sinking in the darkness of low self-esteem, of resentment, of remorse, then no one can take us out of there. Remember that every time we help others, we are helping ourselves. Every time we open our heart to forgive, we are removing the burden in the mind. Every time we choose kindness, we are taking one more step toward the light. The road into the light is not a road covered with flowers, but a road covered with stopping, understanding, and letting go. Tonight before sleeping, sit still, relax, breathe lightly, think of the good things done in the day. If someone makes us sad, forgive. If there is something that makes us regret, let go. Light a lamp in the heart to illuminate yourself, because only when our heart is bright is sleep quiet, the body at peace, and tomorrow truly beautiful. Believe that anyone can go from darkness into light. Just one kind thought, and that light once lit in the mind will never go out. The Buddha taught that in life no one escapes suffering. From the time of birth until closing the eyes, humans still go in the journey of three sufferings: natural suffering, karmic suffering, and illusory suffering. Those three sufferings are interwoven and blended together, making people sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes peaceful, sometimes troubled. Some blame heaven and earth, some are immersed in suffering without knowing the cause. But those with wisdom see in suffering the opportunity to understand, to let go, to be enlightened. Because the Buddha once taught, no one suffers because of life, but only suffers because the mind does not know how to look at life. Natural suffering is the inherent suffering of the physical body, born having to endure hunger, cold, illness, and old age. Karmic suffering is the consequence of karmic causes sown in this life or past lives. And illusory suffering is the type of suffering created by one's own mind, when constantly fearing, worrying, envying, clinging, and dreaming about things that have not yet come. Those three types of suffering are three waves that only when the mind is at peace are the waves still. Those who know the way do not look for ways to avoid suffering, but learn how to understand suffering, so that suffering becomes a teacher, becomes a road, taking one to bliss. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha taught, among sufferings, the mind is the root. A deluded mind brings suffering, an awakened mind brings joy. This means every pain, whether from outside or inside, can be transformed if we know how to return to illuminate ourselves. Suffering is not an enemy. Suffering is an awakening bell, reminding us that we are going in the wrong direction. Like a traveler in the desert, thirst makes them stop, find water, and thanks to that, they live. Suffering is the same. It makes us stop, look deep, and start walking with a new awareness. Long ago in the West, there was a carpenter named Balan. The name sounds gentle, but his life was not gentle at all. From youth to old age, he lived in hardship and toil, never having a moment of leisure. The carpentry profession, although steady, had unstable income. Sometimes people paid low wages, sometimes customers owed and did not pay. Now his wife was sick, his children were in school, the house was rickety, every burden poured onto the shoulders already calloused by the years. Many nights he sat quietly in the dark, looking at his cracked hands while a deep suffering rose in his heart. Suffering because of poverty, because the physical body was exhausted, because the human lot was small. That is natural suffering, the suffering of the body. Everyone has it. When the body is in the cold wind, we suffer. When the body is ill, we suffer. When old age comes, with grey hair and wrinkled skin, we suffer. Whether a king or a beggar, this body still has to endure that law. Mr. Balan understood, but did not accept. He often complained, "Why is my life so miserable, working forever without getting better?" Then he started to become dissatisfied, speaking harshly to his wife and children, even being grumpy with good neighbors. He thought life was a chain of suffering with no way out, until another suffering struck. His only son, little Tam, fell while helping his father carry wood, was seriously injured, and then passed away. Mr. Balan lost everything. He did not cry, only remained silent. A few days later, people saw him sitting by his son's altar, his eyes sunken, his face haggard. Everyone in the village felt pity, but no one dared to comfort him because the pain of losing a child is something no words can soothe. That is karmic suffering, the fruit of karmic causes in life. It could be his own karma, it could be the collective karma between father and son. People only see the consequences, but the Buddha sees the causes and conditions. There are losses that come to pay debts. There are sufferings that come to awaken us, helping us realize deeper things about impermanence and the heart of letting go. But at that time, Mr. Balan did not understand. He only knew he was falling into the darkness of despair. After the son's funeral, he left the profession, wandering day by day, no longer caring about anything. Every time someone asked, he only replied, "I have suffered enough. What else is there to lose?" One afternoon, he stopped in front of the gate of the village temple. The bell rang amidst the silence, spreading out like a wave touching his heart. In the temple yard, an old monk was sweeping leaves. Seeing him standing silently, the monk invited him in, poured a cup of tea, and invited him to sit. The monk asked, "You suffer a lot, don't you?" He nodded, tears falling. He retold his life from poverty to losing his son to the unceasing pain. The monk listened and then smiled kindly. Suffering is not for complaining, but to learn how to let go. You have encountered 3 types of suffering, but have not fully understood. Mr. Ba looked at the monk in bewilderment. The monk slowly said, "Body suffering is natural suffering. Born as a human, everyone must endure it. The suffering of losing a son is karmic suffering due to past causes and conditions. As for the suffering you are holding in your heart even though you sit here, the sky is calm, the wind is cool, no one harms you anymore, and you still suffer. That is illusory suffering. It is not real, but it imprisons you in darkness." Mr. Ba asked, "What is illusory suffering, Master?" The monk replied, "Illusory suffering is suffering due to imagination. You fear future loneliness, fear being poor forever, fear your child died unjustly, fear people will mock you. Those fears do not really exist, but you believe they are real. Just like a person dreaming a nightmare, in the dream you run away, sweat, feel afraid. But when waking up, you then know there was no one chasing you. Your mind is dreaming, so you suffer." Hearing this, Mr. Ba was silent for a long time. He began to understand that for many years, most of his pain did not come from outside, but from within the mind, from the attachment to poverty, from the belief that he was unfortunate, from the thought that losing a son was the end. But in reality, nothing is the end. His son is gone, but love still remains. This worn-out body suffers, but the mind, if it knows how to be still, can still be at peace. From that day, Mr. Ba stayed at the temple. During the day, he helped the monk repair tables and chairs and weave bamboo. At night, he listened to the teachings and practiced meditation. Every time he missed his son, he chanted the Buddha's name. The monk taught him, "When you are in pain, do not chase it away. Sit quietly and look into the pain like looking at a crying child. When you look deep, you will see the pain is also just a flow of water. Then it will flow away." Gradually, his face became gentle, his eyes brighter. People in the village going to the temple were surprised to see him. He was still the Mr. Ba of the past, but seemed to have changed. When someone asked his wife if he still suffered, he only smiled. "Yes, but I know what suffering is, so suffering does not make me fall anymore." Mr. Ba Lan's story is a truthful image of human life. Natural suffering is the body part. Karmic suffering is the karma part. Illusory suffering is the mind part. Everyone has those three types of suffering, but only those who know how to reflect are not bound by them. Because if not understanding, we will complain, cling tightly, fear, and then create more suffering for ourselves. But if understanding, we will know how to use suffering as a teacher. Natural suffering helps us know how to cherish health, how to cherish each breath, each day of being alive. Karmic suffering helps us awaken about causes and conditions so as not to sow evil causes. Illusory suffering helps us learn how to be awake, not letting the mind wander in delusions. When looking clearly at the roots, we will see suffering is also just a part of life. Not scary, no need to avoid. The Buddha taught, knowing suffering is the beginning of wisdom. Whoever dares to look straight at suffering without running away has gone half the way to peace. Because in suffering there is a cause, and in the cause there is the seed of enlightenment. When the body hurts, we learn how to love the body. When the heart hurts, we learn how to love people. When the mind is deluded, we learn how to be awake. All are lessons. Also, for that reason, in sleepless nights, instead of lamenting, try to sit quietly and listen to the breath. Each breath in, know that one is still alive. Each breath out, let go of a worry. If the body is tired, love the body. If the mind is heavy, let it be light. Close your eyes. Imagine the light of compassion is shining everywhere in the body, soothing all suffering. When the mind is quiet, the body is also at peace. Do not fear suffering. Suffering comes to remind us to return. Just as a rainstorm comes to wash away worldly dust, suffering comes to wash the mind. Believe that no suffering is meaningless. Each suffering is a door that when we go through, the other side is peace. Remember the Buddha's teaching. In suffering there is wisdom. In wisdom there is peace. If one knows how to reflect, knows how to live mindfully, knows how to love, knows how to let go, one will no longer fear suffering, because at that time we understand that suffering and joy are just two sides of the same river. That river flows through us, but we are not the river. Tonight, if someone is tossing and turning because of worries, settle your heart. Whether body suffering, karmic suffering, or mind suffering, all will pass. Light a lamp of understanding in your heart. Because when understanding, we no longer fear. When not fearing, suffering vanishes. And when suffering vanishes, peace will naturally appear, like the moon shining on a still lake. Live peacefully because suffering is a teacher, a friend, a guide, taking us to the shore of enlightenment. Those who understand suffering are those who have started happiness. The Buddha once taught that a person's mind is like a lake. When the water is disturbed, the moon's reflection cannot show. When the heart is still, all things are clear. Likewise, this life is only truly comfortable when we know how to keep our hearts peaceful, not chasing after unnecessary things, not clinging to things we should not cling to. 7 things one should not do in life. If they can be let go, sleep will be light, breath will be quiet, and the heart will become leisurely. In life, everyone has wandered into the turnings of ignorance. Some keep running after responsibilities and forget themselves. Some deceive themselves to avoid facing pain. Some live for the eyes of others and then lose the inherent gentle nature. Some are immersed in the past. Some are afraid of being wrong. Some are obsessed with desires. Some waste time on things that are not worth it. Those things sound normal but are exactly the sources making the body and mind tired. So at night one does not sleep, and during the day one is not happy. Long ago there was a man named Tuan. He was an office worker, living in a bustling city, full of lights but lacking the light of the heart. Tuan was inherently gentle and hard-working, but all his life he only knew how to live according to the expectations of others. Every day he woke up before dawn, hurriedly put on his clothes, and brought a fake smile to enter the workplace. He was afraid of being criticized, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of not being loved. He never dared to do what he truly wanted, nor dared to speak the true feelings in his heart. Then, one day, Tuan lost his job. Everything seemed to collapse. He felt empty and lonely, like a small boat in a large rainstorm. That night, he sat quietly by the window, listening to the rain fall while his heart felt like something was breaking. In that moment, he remembered what he had lived for all those years. He had tried his best, but not for happiness, but just to be recognized. He had smiled, but not because of joy, but because of fear of losing the favor of others. That night, he opened his phone and accidentally read a Buddhist saying, "Do not find yourself in the eyes of others." That saying was like a small bell resonating amidst the darkness. He sat for a long time and then smiled slightly. He realized that for all those years, he had never truly lived. He was just a shadow of himself, tied by expectations and fear. From then on, Tuan began to change. He was no longer in a hurry, no longer trying to please anyone. Every morning, he sat still for 10 minutes, closed his eyes, and listened to his breath. He learned how to look at everything more gently. When someone said harsh words, he only smiled. When failing, he did not reproach himself. When succeeding, he was not arrogant. He realized that true peace does not come from outside, but from the mind knowing how to stop. Once a friend asked, "Are you not afraid of losing out, not afraid of being left behind?" He replied, "In the past, I was afraid, because I thought I had to run to prove something. Now I only want to live true to myself. When the mind does not compete, no one can take away my peace." Tuan called his past the machine of mistakes. Each mistake is a door closed, but also a door opened for awakening. The first thing he realized: do not avoid responsibility. In the past, Tuan often blamed circumstances, others, and bad luck. He did not know that when we avoid responsibility, we are also avoiding the opportunity to grow up. Responsibility is not a burden, but the way life teaches us to mature. The Buddha taught, every action, every word, every thought creates karma. When we are ready to take responsibility, it means we are the master of our own karma. No one can make us suffer if our heart knows how to accept and let go. The second thing Tuan learned was not to deceive oneself. He used to say he was fine while his heart was full of hurts. He used to say he was happy, but tears flowed in silence. The Buddha taught, deceiving others is karma, deceiving oneself is suffering, because when we deceive ourselves, the mind will no longer be clear. The mind is like water. Only when clear can it reflect the moon. Truth can make us hurt, but lies make us lost. So Tuan learned how to be honest, even if only with himself. When sad, he admitted it was sad. When tired, he allowed himself to rest. When lost, he stopped to find the way. The third thing he realized was not to try to become someone else. Before, he always looked at life with eyes of comparison. Seeing others being good, he felt inferior. Seeing others being less, he was arrogant. But then he understood, no one is born to be a copy of someone else. Each person is a flower blooming in their own way. Some flowers bloom early, some bloom late. Some flowers only bloom when it rains. If we try to be like someone, we will lose our true scent. The Buddha once taught, "Be an island unto yourself." Only when we know how to stand firm in our true nature do we truly have peace. The fourth thing he reminded himself every night: do not be immersed in the past. When he was young, Tuan often regretted. He remembered opportunities missed, people who left, things that could have been different. But then he understood the past is a shadow. The more you chase, the further it goes. The Buddha said, "Do not cling to what has passed. Do not seek what has not yet come. Only the present is real. When the mind clings to the past, the body will be tired. When the mind is in the present, the body is light." So he learned how to breathe, how to smile with this moment. Every time the rain fell outside the porch, he felt his heart was warm again, because he knew as long as there was breath, one could still start again. The fifth thing, Tuan learned how to overcome the fear of mistakes. He used to fear failure, so he dared not do anything. But then he realized fearing mistakes is the biggest mistake. In this life, no one is perfect. The Buddha taught there is no road without stumbling. Only those who know how to stand up after falling truly go forward. Failure is not scary. What is scary is letting it blow out the light in the heart. Tuan started to try again the things he once missed. He learned to draw, learned to meditate, learned to cook, learned to be silent, and in each small thing he found the simple joy that he never knew before. The sixth thing he understood was not to follow every desire. He used to think having much money would be happy, having a lover would be less lonely, being praised would feel valuable. But then the more he had, the more he felt empty. The Buddha taught, desire is like fire. The more oil you pour, the more it burns. When the mind keeps demanding, we are never enough. True happiness does not lie in having more, but in having less greed, less anger, less attachment, a simple meal, a peaceful breath, a quiet sleep. That is the greatest blessing. And the final thing, the thing he remembered forever: do not waste time on people who are not worth it. In the past, he spent his whole youth trying to please people who did not care. He once silently endured, once cried in loneliness, once apologized, even though he was not wrong. But the Buddha taught, those who make you suffer are also those who teach you how to love yourself. When we know how to protect our heart, know whom to be near, know when to leave, that is not selfishness, but wisdom. Tuan understood that no one can hurt us if we do not allow it, and true compassion is not enduring but letting go in peace. From that day on, Tuan's life changed. He was not richer, not more famous, but he smiled more, slept better, and his mind was more at peace. Every night before going to bed, he sat still, clasped his hands and whispered, vowing for this heart to be tranquil, vowing for any hatred to be resolved, vowing for this body to be as light as clouds, this mind to be as bright as the moon. Perhaps peace does not come from anything big. It is just the moment we are no longer self-tormenting, no longer avoiding, no longer deceiving. It is when we know how to live true to ourselves, know how to admit mistakes without self-reproach, know how to love without needing a return. When we are light, the whole world is also light. 7 things one should not do, seemingly simple, but how many can keep them? Those who avoid responsibility will never grow up. Those who deceive themselves will never be at peace. Those who try to become someone else will never find themselves. Those immersed in the past will forever forget the present. Those who fear mistakes will never dare to live. Those who follow desire will never be enough. Those who waste time on unworthy people will have no more time for themselves. Therefore, every night before closing your eyes, ask your heart, was I true to myself today? If the answer is yes, then although life still has many trials, you can still sleep in peace. The Buddha taught, those who know how to let go are those who know how to sleep well. Because only when the mind is not entangled is the dream quiet. When the heart does not cling, the breath is light. Night is no longer a fear but becomes a gentle friend, lulling you with the sound of rain, with the breath of the wind, with the calm heartbeat. If tonight you are still awake, breathe slowly, close your eyes, and let go of all worries. Remember that this life inherently does not need too many things, only needs a soul that knows how to live truly, a heart that knows how to love, and a mind that knows how to let go. Then sleep will come, light as a dewdrop, warm as the moonlight, quiet as the temple bell echoing in the night. Wish for you each night to be peaceful. Wish for you, whether in dreams or awake, to have a gentle heart and a bright mind. Wish for you, though life changes, to still keep a gentle smile on your lips. Because when the heart is already at peace, nothing makes it hard to sleep anymore. Only the silence of the night, the gentle rain, and the light breath of a person returning to themselves. The Buddha once taught that when the mind is at peace, naturally life is at peace. When the heart is quiet, all scenes are tranquil. Life inherently does not lack storms, only lacks a mind that knows how to stand still amidst the waves. Those who know how to let go, how to be patient, how to stop amidst meaningless things, will find they do not need to win anyone, yet still have peace. There are 2 things one should not ask, and 3 things one should not compete for. Knowing so, the heart is light, sleep is quiet, and life naturally becomes harmonious. In daily life, we are often swept into matters that do not belong to us. Seeing someone sad, we are curious. Seeing someone happy, we want to know the cause. Seeing others compete, we also want to chip in a word. And from that, many unnecessary things become messy. Many relationships break down, not because of big things, but just because of unintentional words that did not need to be said. The Buddha taught that the mouth is the door of karma. A word spoken can save a person, and can also make a person suffer. Therefore, those who know how to keep their words, how to be silent at the right time, are the ones with wisdom. The 2 not to ask means do not ask about private life, and do not ask about other people's family matters. Each person's private life is a private garden. We cannot step in without leaving footprints. Other people's family matters, if there is no cause or condition, do not find out, do not judge. Because we only see the outside, while the cause and effect inside are only known by heaven, earth, and their own hearts. A question seemingly out of care sometimes makes the listener's heart ache. A word seemingly unintentional sometimes touches a wound someone is hiding. The 3 not to compete are, do not compete for right and wrong, do not compete for face, and do not compete for gain and loss. Because the more one competes, the more disturbed the heart is. The more one vies for winning and losing, the more unquiet the mind is. Those who compete for right and wrong often lose their tranquility. Those who compete for face often lose the hearts of people. Those who compete for gain and loss often lose themselves. In Buddhism, the wise do not find ways to defeat others, but find ways to defeat their own minds. In a small village by the river, there was a woman named Mrs. Nam. People called her Mrs. Nam, the rice seller, because for decades she sold rice at the corner of the old market. Her stall was always simple, just a few bags of white rice, a few baskets of mung beans, a few packets of salt. But strangely, her stall always had people coming to buy, although around there were many new, beautiful, and more bustling shops. Mrs. Nam was small and thin, with early grey hair, but her face was always gentle. Every morning she woke up early and lit an incense stick before the Buddha altar in the corner of the house. The smoke rose lightly. She clasped her hands and whispered, vowing for a day of peace, vowing for the heart not to be moved, vowing for the mouth not to say things that make others sad. After that, she went to the market. People in the market said they never saw her ask about anyone's business. If someone was sad, she only nodded with a slight smile. If someone complained about suffering, she only said it would pass. If someone said someone else was wrong, she only said everyone had their own karma. Once a neighbor seller told a story about her husband having an affair and asked her, "Mrs. Nam, do you believe it?" She only replied lightly, "Hearing about other people's family matters does not help anything, so just pray for them to love each other more." For that reason, many said she was shy and did not know how to live, as people talked, but she could not contribute a word. But then one day, a big thing happened in the market. Two sellers argued over a customer, words were exchanged, and then they scuffled. Everyone looked for someone to be a witness. Everyone said they were right. Mrs. Nam still sat quietly, fanning herself with a bamboo fan. When people pulled her over to ask who she saw was right and who was wrong, she only smiled and said, "I only see suffering people. I do not see anyone wrong." That sentence made both sides go silent, because in the heat of anger, they suddenly felt their hearts cooling down. From then on, people cherished Mrs. Nam more. Everyone said Mrs. Nam truly was a person of blessings, not because she was rich or talented, but because she had a peaceful heart. Not asking about other people's business, so she was not entangled in gossip. Not competing for winning and losing, so she was never tired. She lived simply but stably. At night she slept well. In the morning she woke up smiling lightly. Each day for her was a new day, not burdened with old matters. Once someone asked Mrs. Nam, "Why are you so gentle? Whatever anyone says, you just smile and do not get angry." She replied, "I do not compete, so I lose nothing. Anger is like taking a knife to cut one's own heart, while smiling is like lighting a lamp in the night." The listener was silent, because in those simple words was a whole life of understanding the way. The Buddha taught that not competing is being a saint, not speaking is being wise, not asking is being still. People often fear losing, so they keep competing, but in the gain of competing, there is already the seed of loss. Those who keep tranquility are truly those who have conquered themselves. 2. Not to ask. 3. Not to compete, seemingly small but are the gateway to peace. When we do not ask about other people's private matters, our mind is not entangled. When we do not compete for right and wrong, our heart is not moved. When we do not compete for face, we maintain humility. When we do not compete for gain and loss, we keep the mind bright. Just like a lake, only when there is no wind can it reflect the moon. Life is like a river. There are places where the water flows fast and places where it is calm. If we keep stirring it up to see the bottom, the water will never be clear. Many people lose sleep not because of a tired body, but because of a tired heart. The heart is tired because it keeps being filled with stories of people, of life, of right and wrong. The more one thinks, the more messy it feels. The more one competes, the more unquiet one feels. Just letting go a little, and it is quiet. The mind is quiet, the breath is even, eyes closed, and sleep naturally comes. When we do not ask about other people's private lives, it is also the time we are learning how to love. To love is not to make others hurt more. Everyone carries a silent pain. Some are forcing a smile on the outside, but inside is an unhealed wound. If we are truly compassionate, let them be in peace. Do not bring up what they are trying to forget. That is a way of performing a silent good deed. No need to talk, no need to show off, but has profound merit. And when we do not compete, that is the time we are learning how to let go. Letting go is not losing, but choosing peace. Defeating others is only a temporary victory. Defeating oneself is the true victory. The Buddha said those who know how to let go of unworthy things will receive more precious things. When we let go of right and wrong, we see everything depends on conditions. When we let go of face, we see our heart as light as clouds. When we let go of gain and loss, we see this life has nothing that needs to be held tightly. Many people ask, if everyone does not compete, will life become passive? But in reality, not competing is not giving up. Not competing is doing one's best, but not being attached. It is speaking with compassion, not with anger. It is acting with mindfulness, not for winning or losing. A person with such a mind, wherever they go, brings peace to themselves and others. Mrs. Nam, the rice seller, is an image of such a person. All her life she lived in the market, amidst the noise, amidst the scrambling, yet still kept a still mind. Anyone looking thought she was simple, but in reality, she was living in the world as if in Zen. The market is a place for buying and selling, but for her, it was a place for practice. Each person coming, each word, each smile, was a lesson about cause and effect, about the human heart, about patience. Once, a customer intentionally bargained a low price and said harsh words. She still happily packed the rice without a single frown. People asked why she was not frustrated. She smiled kindly. If the other person is hot, and I am also hot, then the fire burns on both sides. If the other person is hot and I am cool, then the fire goes out. I choose to be cool. Simple as that. But that is the wisdom of one who understands the way. The meaning of Mrs. Nam's story is like that. When the mind is calm, the scene is also calm. When not asking and not competing, we keep our energy pure. Life no longer has many storms, because the wind is only strong when the heart is still moving. A person can live in the market, amidst people, and still be at peace, because their mind is not pulled away. They know what should be heard, what should be silent, what should be let go. The Buddha taught that practitioners do not need to go far, just stay where they are living and keep a pure mind that is practice. Mrs. Nam did not enter the temple, did not chant many scriptures, but each of her actions and words was a Zen lesson. Zen in the breath, Zen in the smile, Zen in knowing not to ask, knowing not to compete. Letting go of winning and losing, one sees one's heart as wide as the ocean. The ocean does not fear the waves because it knows waves come and go. The ocean does not compete for space with clouds because it knows clouds just visit and then leave. Humans are the same. When knowing everything is a condition, then there is no one left to resent, nothing left to vie for. When the mind is like the ocean, all small matters dissolve like bubbles. Therefore, if tonight you are still restless, take a very deep breath, breathe very slowly, close your eyes, and imagine you are a still lake. What other people say, let the wind carry it away. Things that do not belong to you, let the water wash them away. Only keep the breath, keep the smile, keep the kind heart. When the mind is already at peace, sleep will come. Remember that not everyone who talks much understands. Not everyone who competes well wins. True understanding lies in the heart that knows how to be silent. True victory lies in the mind that knows how to yield. One word not spoken sometimes saves a relationship. One thing not competed for sometimes keeps a lifetime of peace. The Buddha once said, "One thought of anger burns a forest of merit. One thought of kindness creates 100 lifetimes of blessings." Keeping a mind that does not compete is keeping blessings. Keeping a mouth that does not ask meaningless things is keeping peace. Tonight, If possible, before sleeping, smile and gently whisper a phrase. Vow for this mind to be at peace, for these words to be gentle, for this heart to know how to let go. Then the sound of rain will be lighter, the breath will slow down, and sleep will come, as gentle as a drift of incense smoke spreading in the silent space. The Buddha taught that the lotus only blooms in mud, and the wise only shine in suffering. In life, no one wants to suffer, no one prays for adversity, but adversity is exactly the shortest road, taking a person to wisdom and compassion. Because when happy, we forget to look deep into ourselves. When suffering, we then choose to stop to listen to the voice within. Just like a precious gem must go through grinding to be bright. Humans are the same. If not through trials, one cannot see the true light in one's own heart. Many people complain that why do they suffer more than others? Why do so many efforts still encounter difficulties, illness, and loss? But the Buddha taught that suffering does not come to punish, but to awaken. Adversity is not born to make us weak, but to open a new door within us. The door of understanding, of letting go, of being at ease. When we are in pain, we learn how to empathize. When we lose, we learn how to be grateful. When we suffer, we then see the value of a peaceful day. Therefore, do not fear suffering. Look at it as a kind teacher. Though harsh, it comes to teach us the most important things, lessons about impermanence, about cause and effect, about being content. Suffering is a mirror, to let us see clearly how far we have gone from mindfulness. When we know how to return, suffering will vanish like clouds, vanishing after a rain. Those with wisdom do not resent life, do not blame people, but only ask their own heart, what do we learn from this suffering? When we understand, suffering becomes a blessing. When we do not yet understand, blessings turn into suffering. Long ago in the Anguttara Nikaya, there was a part recording the Buddha's teaching that, just like a blacksmith, the longer the forging, the harder the iron. Likewise, the more practitioners encounter adversity, the brighter the mind and the firmer the intellect. Therefore, every time our life falls into a difficult period, remember that it is not the end, but just a gentle test of karma. If we pass it, the road ahead will open up a new realm. The story of Lan, a simple teacher, will help us understand that more deeply. Lan, 40 years old, all her life gentle and dedicated to teaching at a small school in a quiet countryside. She lived simply, never creating resentment with anyone. Every morning she went home early, brewed a pot of tea, read a few pages of the Dhammapada, and then went to class with a gentle smile. Her life seemed to be peaceful forever, until one day her body signaled strange pains. The medical results made her whole world collapse. Stage 3 cancer. Initially, Lan was very afraid. Every night she listened to the rain fall outside the porch, while tears kept flowing. She thought of her old parents, of her students, of unfinished dreams. She asked heaven, "Why me? I have not done anything evil." But the more she asked, the more her heart suffered, because no one replied, nor could anyone change fate. One afternoon, after the first treatment, she went to a temple near her house to pray for peace. The abbot looked at her, did not say much, only invited her to sit down and poured a cup of hot tea. The tea fragrance rose, the heat spreading in the wind. The monk asked, "Do you know why you are in pain?" She replied, "Is it because of karma, master?" The monk nodded and then said, "True, but karma is not for you to resent, but for you to understand. The sick body is for the mind to be healed. The body pain is for the mind to know how to return." The monk told, "There are people who, when sick, the more they resist, the more they suffer. There are people who know how to accept, how to love their own body. Then the illness is no longer an enemy but becomes a friend, reminding us to live slower, breathe deeper, and love ourselves more." Lan was silent. The tea was already cold, but the monk's words were like a warm fire in her heart. From that day on, she no longer complained. She practiced meditation every morning. When in pain, she closed her eyes and whispered, "Namo Amitabha Buddha," very softly. When tired, she smiled and said to herself, "This is karma dissolving, not suffering, but a blessing." Gradually, her mind became at peace. She still received treatment, still felt pain, but was no longer afraid. She started to spend time writing letters to encourage other patients. She went to the hospital bringing books, telling stories of the Buddha, of cause and effect, of faith. Every time someone was afraid, she held their hand and said softly, "Do not fear, we are being taught a precious lesson." Lan became an inspiration for many people. There were patients who once intended to give up, and after meeting her, smiled again. The doctor said, "Lan not only lives longer than expected, but her spirit is also extraordinarily bright. It seems the pain has helped her see clearly the nature of life, that nothing is forever, that this body is only temporary, and the most precious thing is not living long, but living awake." 3 years later, Lan passed away, but before she left a small notebook, in which the last line was written, "This illness is a gift the Buddha sent, so I understand that each breath is a blessing. If there were no suffering, I would forever sleep in peace. I am grateful for this illness, because thanks to it I live truly." When the abbot read those lines, he cried, because people often resent suffering and few know how to thank suffering. Lan is gone but left a great lesson. Adversity is a blessed condition, if we know how to look with the eyes of the Buddha. The meaning of this story is like that. In life, no one avoids suffering, but suffering is not a bad thing. It is just an essential part of the process of resolving karma, like a person boiling water. When the water boils, the residue rises. If we are patient, the residue will settle and the water will be clear again. Likewise, when karma is ripe and suffering appears, if we go through it peacefully, karma will dissolve and the mind will be bright. The Buddha taught that suffering is a noble truth. Whoever understands suffering is near the way. When we are willing to look deep into pain, we see causes and conditions within suffering. Those who do evil harvest suffering to pay. Those who do good encounter suffering to be more diligent. The suffering today, if gone through with mindfulness, will turn into blessings for the future. But if opposed with anger, it will become new karma. Therefore, when encountering adversity, do not resent and do not fear. Smile and say, "This is the condition for us to learn." When the mind is at peace, suffering naturally decreases. When the mind is bright, suffering naturally vanishes. Pain is only temporary, just like rain that will eventually stop. Illness is only a small part of karma, but the way we face it is the deciding factor. If resenting, karma increases. If understanding, karma is exhausted. Lan understood that. So although the body was sick, the mind was still healthy. Although in pain, the heart was still at peace. Many people looked at her and thought she was lucky, but in reality, that was the result of practice. Because in every moment she learned how to live mindfully, not immersing in fear, not finding ways to run away. She walked amidst pain, but still smiled. And exactly that smile is the testament to the Buddha's teaching. Those who know how to smile in suffering have overcome suffering. If we look carefully, every adversity contains the seed of a blessing. One who loses a job has the opportunity to change direction. One who loses love has the chance to return to themselves. One who loses money learns the lesson of letting go. One who loses health learns the lesson of love. Each loss is a reminder from karma. Live awake. Therefore, do not run away from adversity. Sit down, breathe, and ask the heart, what did this lesson come to teach us? It could be patience. It could be compassion. It could be letting go. It could be gratitude. When we find it, suffering is no longer scary. It is only the boat taking us to the shore of enlightenment. A person who has never suffered finds it hard to understand others. A person who has never lost finds it hard to know how to cherish. A person who has never been sick finds it hard to know how to live slowly. Therefore, suffering is the entrance to compassion. Whoever has suffered, if knowing how to open the heart, will have great compassion. In each adversity, there are two choices. One is to complain, two is to learn. Those who choose to complain will be pulled away by suffering. Those who choose to learn will be lifted up by suffering. When the mind transforms, the scene changes. When seeing suffering as a friend, we no longer fear suffering. Just like a farmer understands that the rainy season is for the soil to be good, and the dry season is for the tree to endure the sun and be strong. Life is the same. There is sun, there is rain, there is light, there is dark. Each stage is necessary for the growth of the mind. The Buddha taught that in fire, gold is bright, in suffering a person is true. Therefore, do not blame adversity, be grateful for it. Because thanks to it we become humble, thanks to it we know how to love, thanks to it we see life is impermanent and cherish each moment. Those who know how to thank suffering are those who have walked half the road to enlightenment. Tonight, if you are still awake, if in your heart there are things not yet at peace, take a deep breath and then breathe lightly. Close your eyes and listen to the Buddha's teaching. No suffering is forever. Each pain is a door opening to the light. Look at your adversity, not with fear, but with love. Say softly, I am grateful for being taught this lesson. When you truly give thanks, the mind will be at peace. When the mind is at peace, sleep will come. Light as clouds, warm as the moonlight at the beginning of the night. Believe that suffering is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. The journey of understanding, of enlightenment, of being at ease. Believe that every difficulty is an opportunity the Buddha sends for us to grow up. And remember, without adversity, there will be no enlightenment. The Buddha taught that hatred cannot be resolved by hatred. Only compassion and forgiveness can soothe all suffering. In life, everyone has been hurt, has felt unfairness, and has carried invisible scars in the heart. Some choose to nourish those wounds with anger. Some choose to let them gradually dissolve in compassion. That difference is exactly the boundary between suffering and peace. When night comes, when there is no more noise of the world, we then clearly hear our heart. Some toss and turn and cannot sleep, not because the body is tired, but because the mind is not yet at peace. Because there is still hatred, still troubles, still attachments. When the mind has not forgiven, then the heart is like a fire. Though small, it is enough to burn away the tranquility. Therefore, forgiveness is not an action for others, but a gift we give ourselves. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting everything, does not mean condoning faults. Forgiveness is seeing through the nature of suffering, is understanding that everyone is enduring their own karma. When understanding that, we no longer want revenge, no longer want to compete. Because in the infinite cycle of reincarnation, no one truly wins, no one truly loses. Only who finds peace is truly liberated. Ancient people had a saying, keeping hatred in the heart is like holding a hot coal in the hand, hoping to throw it at another, but finally one is burned. Hatred is a burden, forgiveness is letting go. When letting go of resentment we are light, when forgiving someone we are at peace. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha taught, the winner gives birth to resentment, the loser sleeps unquietly. Those who leave behind winning and losing live happily. That is the lesson of letting go, of compassion, because only when knowing how to put down can we continue to walk. The story of Mrs. Hoa is a testament to that power, the power of compassion, of forgiveness, of the miraculous transformation that only love can perform. Mrs. Hoa lived in a peaceful countryside. She had an only son, obedient and gentle, who was her pride. The life of the two, mother and son, was not wealthy, but full of happiness. Every day was the same. Each morning she woke up early, prepared a meal, and then stood at the gate, smiling as she watched her son go to work. She often said, "Go with joy, return with peace." But there was one morning, that saying was the last word she gave her son. On that day, a drunk young man drove a car and hit her son. The accident was sudden. He died on the spot. The whole village was stunned. The whole sky in Mrs. Hoa's heart collapsed. People saw her sitting quietly for hours before the altar, her eyes dry, no longer having tears to cry. Someone came to advise, "Sue the one who caused that crime, let the law punish." But she only shook her head slightly and said softly, "The law will do the law's part, while my part is to keep my mind from turning into hatred." When the young man who caused the accident was arrested, she went to the prison. People were surprised, thinking she came to scold, to vent anger. But no, she brought a basket of fruit and some small scripture books and told the officer, "I came to visit my son." The prison officer did not understand, asked again, "Your son is dead." She smiled. "The boy in here is exactly the son that karma and conditions have brought to me. I lost one son, but perhaps heaven and Buddha gave me another to teach him how to live correctly." The first time they met, the young man lowered his head and could not say a word. He cried and trembled, saying through sobs, "I am sorry, I deserve to die." She said gently, "If you die, who will live to correct the mistakes? You pass away. The karma is not yet exhausted, the sin is not yet transformed, and the pain still remains. Forgiveness is not forgetting, but walking through it together." From then on, each month she visited again. She brought food, clothes, and lessons about cause and effect. She told him stories in the scriptures about those who knew how to repent, and about the compassion of the Buddha. The young man gradually changed. In his eyes there was gradually an awakening. 4 years later, when released from prison, he found her, knelt down and sobbed, "I do not dare to ask you to forgive me, but I want to live as you taught. Live to atone." She helped him up, said slowly, "I have forgiven you for a long time. From the day you knew pain, you were already saved." From then on, he became a volunteer, going to places with orphans, places needing help, silently doing good things. Once, when asked what made him change, he only said, "Thanks to the compassion of the mother, I then learned how to live." That story spread throughout the village, and anyone who heard it was moved. They said Mrs. Hoa was truly extraordinary, but she only smiled kindly. "I am not extraordinary. I just do not want to live in hatred. Hatred is a prison, forgiveness is liberation." When finishing that story, we suddenly realize compassion is not something far away. It is the light shining into the darkest places in the human soul. If Mrs. Hoa chose hatred, then perhaps 2 lives would have been buried in suffering. But thanks to one thought of compassion, she saved not only another, but also herself. Forgiveness is actually a practice. Practice is not only in the temple, but practice in each breath, each choice. Some chant the Buddha's name all their life, but do not let go of anger. Then they have not truly practiced. While those who know how to forgive, know how to love, know how to be compassionate, then even just that one thought is one step near the Buddha. In the scriptures, the Buddha talked about karma and fruit. Those who commit evil will have to endure consequences no one can avoid. But those who give rise to a compassionate heart will have that karma gradually resolved. Forgiveness is not erasing karma, but not creating new karma. When we forgive, we end the reincarnation flow of hatred, so as not to sow more seeds of suffering into the future. Think about it. In this life, everyone has done wrong. has made someone hurt. If we hope others forgive us, then we should also learn how to forgive people. Because forgiveness is two-way, a stream of water washing away dirt for both sides. One who holds a grudge thinks they are strong but actually weak. One who knows how to forgive seems weak but is stronger than ever. Because forgiveness requires courage, requires faith, requires a soul that has matured. Sometimes we cannot forgive others because we have not forgiven ourselves. We blame ourselves for having believed, for having loved, for having sacrificed. But blaming oneself is also a form of suffering. Look deep into your mind and then say to yourself that we have done our best, we have had enough. When we let go, the heart will be at peace. Forgiveness is not erasing memory, but not letting that memory control us anymore. When we still remember but no longer feel pain, that is the time we have truly forgiven. In the silence of the night, imagine you are sitting by a peaceful lake. All anger, all troubles are like stones falling into the water. They create waves but then also settle. Your mind is the same. If you do not continue to throw more stones, the water surface will be flat. Forgiveness is stopping so the water can be at peace. Someone said, "I cannot forgive because that person is not worthy." But forgiveness is not for the other person to be worthy, but for you to be worthy of your own peace. Do not wait for anyone to change before letting go, because suffering lies in your heart, not in their hands. Remember, when you forgive, it does not mean you lose, but you have won. Winning over the anger in your own heart, winning over selfishness, winning even over karmic obstacles. And that is the greatest victory of a human life. Like Mrs. Hoa in that story, she did not compete, did not argue, did not punish, but she exactly was the winner. She won over pain, won over darkness, to step into the light of compassion. As for the young man, thanks to being forgiven, he was reborn. That is the power of compassion, a power that does not need swords, does not need loud words, but can change a whole human destiny. Sometimes just a word of forgiveness, a look of empathy, is enough to save a person from the abyss, because humans all crave to be understood, to be forgiven, to be loved. When we give others that, we are sowing kind seeds, and like all other kind seeds, they will germinate and bloom, and one day we will harvest back the fruits of joy. Forgiveness does not make us lose anything, only makes us richer, rich in humanity, rich in peace, while hatred only makes us poorer, poor in happiness, poor in smiles. Therefore, every night before sleeping, be silent for a few minutes. Close your eyes. Think of those who once made you suffer, and then whisper, "I forgive you. I also forgive myself." Just a small sentence, but if spoken from a sincere heart, it will make your sleep deeper, more peaceful. Good sleep does not only come from a healthy body, but from a light soul. When the heart has let go, the breath will be even, and the dream will be good. Those who know how to forgive are those who sleep at peace. Those who know how to let go are those who live at peace. Like water flowing through a rock, no resentment, no stopping, just quietly going on. Life is the same. Do not let one grudge make the flow of your soul stop. Let compassion lead the way. Let forgiveness open the road. When we know how to love even those who once made us suffer, it is when we truly understand the way. Because in the eyes of the Buddha there are no enemies, only souls that are lost. And every time we forgive, we are illuminating a part of that darkness. Finally, remember that forgiveness is not weakness but strength. That strength does not come from muscles but from the heart, not from power but from wisdom. Because only those who clearly understand cause and effect and clearly understand impermanence can truly forgive. Tonight, let your heart settle. Do not think too much about the past. Do not blame anyone. Do not resent anything. Take a deep breath and then breathe out very slowly. All hatred will gradually vanish in that breath. The Buddha taught that when the mind is at peace, all things are at peace. When the heart of compassion arises, merit comes. When knowing how to forgive, bad karma dissolves and luck follows. So to have a good sleep, let the mind be at peace. To have a healthy body, let compassion bloom. Believe that although life has much suffering, just one kind thought, and the light has started to shine. Just as any long night will pass, after the darkness is always dawn. Let forgiveness become the sun in your heart, shining for the days to come. Wish for you each night when hearing these words, the mind is still, the heart is at peace, sleep is complete, and when waking up, the smile is still on the lips. Live kindly, live with love, live with forgiveness, because when we give away compassion, it is when we receive back our own happiness. The Buddha taught that life is an impermanent journey. There is a beginning and an end, but no one knows where their stop is. We come to this world as passengers stepping onto a train. On that train, there are people accompanying for a long time, some only going for a short segment. Some board the train with a smile but leave in tears. Some seem to go far but, in the end, only stop by. Life is exactly like that impermanent, short, fragile as afternoon smoke. The Buddha once said, "A human life is as short as a breath. When the final breath leaves, all glory, fame, and resentment become illusions. Therefore, the important thing is not how long we lived, but how we lived, just like the train traveler. The precious thing is not the final destination, but how much we smiled, helped, and loved people on that train. Each evening when closing a day, we have gone through one more segment of that journey. Some sleep in peace, some toss and turn with worries. Those at peace are those who know enough. Those who worry are those who have not yet known how to let go. Therefore, to sleep well, the mind must be still. To have a still mind, one must know how to let go. And letting go is understanding the impermanent nature of life. Life is a long train. Everyone has a ticket, but no one knows when their ticket expires. Therefore, live as if today is the final day of the journey. Speak words of love while you still can. Help people while you still have strength. Forgive while the heart is still warm, because when the train stops, all that we carry along is only good karma or bad karma. In a small town by the river, there was a train driver named Loy. All his life he was attached to the tracks and the sound of the long train whistle. In the early morning, he drove the train for over 40 years, carrying many people through many lands, witnessing many meetings and partings. People said he was the soul of that station. His student, Nam, said that Mr. Loy drove the train not only with his hands, but with his whole heart. Every time the train left the station, he always stuck his head out the window, looked back at the platform, and shouted to the trainees, "Remember, on the train of life there are people boarding and people leaving. The important thing is how we traveled." Nam heard that sentence hundreds of times, but only when Mr. Loy retired did he fully understand. On the final day in the profession, he wore the old faded shirt, held the old hat, and stepped onto the driver's cabin. The early morning sun reflected through the glass, a golden light covering the wrinkled but gentle face. The train left the station, and the whistle echoed. Dozens of people in the town stood up. Some were tearful. Everyone knew this was Mr. Loy's final train. On the way, he told Nam small but profound stories. He said, "You know, when driving a train we must learn to look far. Look far to avoid danger. Look far to anticipate what is coming. Life is the same. Must know how to look far, how to slow down. Do not just rush and forget the people going with you." Nam asked, "Are you ever tired when all your life is just around the tracks?" He smiled kindly. "Tired, of course. But when seeing passengers smile, when seeing people arrive safely, I feel light-hearted. There are trains in life that do not need to arrive at a destination. just need to go in the right direction. The train that day was longer than usual. Mr. Loy said he wanted to go slow, to look back at everything for the last time. The train passed through golden rice fields, over the bridge that had been dyed by time, and by the winding river glittering in the sun. Each place he pointed out to Nam. That place in 87 had a landslide. We had to stop all day. That place once I saved a child almost falling into the river. Each memory was a seed of love, cultivated by him throughout a human life. The day he passed away, the whole station cried. People hung his photo on the wall. Amidst the early morning train whistle, anyone passing by stopped and clasped their hands. Someone said he was a good man, all his life not complaining, only knowing how to help people. Another said, I was once saved by him when I fainted on the train. Yet another told, once I forgot my wallet, he returned it to my house. Each story told is a flower in the merit garden he left behind. His former student, now the chief train driver, every time passing by the old stretch of track, reduces speed and offers a thought of incense. He said softly, Teacher, I have understood your advice. Life is like a train, some board and some leave. The important thing is how we traveled. Through that story, we understand that in life, everyone is driving a train of their own. It could be the train of love, of work, of dreams, or of responsibility. Whichever our train carries, drive it with a pure heart, because only those who drive with the heart can take that train to a peaceful place. Mr. Loy's story is also a lesson about cause and effect. He lived kindly, so he received back kindness. He gave away smiles, so he left in the loving tears of others. That is the natural law of the universe. What is sown is reaped. Doing good receives good. Cause and effect is not wrong. It is just a matter of arriving early or late. Those who live fully, when leaving the world, do not need gold or silver, only need the hearts of people to remember. Because the memories of others are exactly the mirror reflecting our good karma. Those who live selfishly, when passing away, no one mentions. Those who live virtuously, when gone, it is as if they are still there. Someone asked, what is living fully? Living fully is not living to be praised, but living so the heart is not ashamed. Whatever you do, think of the consequences. Whatever word you say, think of the human heart. When the mind is pure, everything is good. When compassion arises, blessings naturally come. The Buddha taught, each breath is a gift. Each person we meet is a condition. When there is a condition, we meet. When the condition ends, we leave. No one stays forever beside us, nor does anyone leave forever. Therefore, do not try to cling, do not try to keep. Know how to smile when others leave our life. Because they are just moving to another train, continuing their part of the journey. Exactly because of impermanence, we must know how to cherish each moment. Look back at life. How many people have passed through? How many loving words we have not dared to give? How many handshakes we have not dared to give? Time flows fast like wheels rolling on tracks, not turning back, not waiting. Therefore, live a bit slower to have time to love. Each night when closing your eyes, ask, today did I do something to make someone smile? If yes, that is a full day. If not, tomorrow try a bit harder. Because each smile we sow is a flower on the train of life. Those who live with kindness, whether the road is long or short, it is still a beautiful journey. Those who live in selfishness, no matter how much they achieve, it is only temporary. Believe that happiness does not lie at the destination, but lies on each segment of the road we go. Like Mr. Loy, he did not seek fame, did not hope to be remembered. He only wanted each train he drove to take people to safety. Life is the same. We cannot control when we will get off at a station, but we can choose the way we sit on that train. Choose to sit with a smile, with gratitude, with compassion. Do not sit with resentment, because like that we only make our journey heavier. Some are born in the first carriage, some in the last. Some only stand for a moment and then leave, but that is not important. The important thing is, when we leave the train, what did we leave behind? A thank you, a small action, a kind heart. All are beautiful marks that life will not forget. When thinking about leaving, do not be afraid. Death is not the end, but a station change. The soul only changes to another train, continuing the reincarnation journey. Therefore, the worrying thing is not when we die, but how we lived before we die. If we live with kindness when leaving the train, the Buddha will welcome us with light. If we live in anger and resentment when leaving the train, darkness will cover around. So always choose the light. Though only a small ray, it is enough to illuminate our path. Those with wisdom will not complain about life being short, but know how to cherish each day. Those with heart will not lament people leaving, but know how to thank them for having come. Because, as the Buddha said, all are conditions. Conditions come to learn, conditions leave to understand. Everyone on the train of our life is a lesson teaching us how to love, how to let go, how to live. When you see someone leave your life, do not grieve too long. Clasp your hands and smile and send a wish for goodness. Because maybe on another train, they are also remembering you. Life is a journey that does not repeat. Therefore, go with all your heart. Let each place we pass through, each person we meet, receive a bit of light from us. Live so that when our train of life stops, those who remain still remember us with warmth rather than with pain. Believe that when we live kindly, blessings will follow us like a shadow follows a form. When we sow love, love will return like waves spreading on the water. And when we leave the train, what we leave behind is the footprint of compassion. Tonight, relax your soul. Imagine you are sitting on a train, quietly running through a moonlight field. The sound of the wind is like a lullaby, the sound of the wheels like a heartbeat. Outside the window are memories passing light as clouds. Smile because you are going, still alive, still have the opportunity to love. And when tomorrow comes, step down from that carriage with gratitude. Gratitude for the people who accompanied, gratitude for the people who left, gratitude even for the difficulties that taught us to be strong. The Buddha taught one day not living in compassion is a day wasted. Therefore, live fully, sow love, so that when leaving life we have no regrets. Wish for you each night to sleep in peace, each morning to wake up in tranquility. Wish for your train of life, whether long or short, to be filled with the light of kindness, of smiles, and of love. Because finally, what remains is not money or fame, but the marks of love we left on the train of life. The Buddha taught that sleep is also a method of practice. When sleeping in mindfulness, the body is rested and the mind is at peace. When sleeping in ignorance, the body sleeps but the mind still wanders, never truly resting. In life, many think that sleep is just a natural part of the body. But for those who know how to practice, who know how to live mindfully, then even sleep is a way to return to oneself, a way to let go of all suffering and nourish the seeds of peace in the consciousness. Each evening when we lie down is when the world outside settles. No more work, no more voices, no more worries, only us and the breath, only us and ourselves. But also at that moment, so many thoughts, so many memories, so many worries rise up again. Those who lose sleep are not because the body is not tired, but because the mind is not yet at peace. The Buddha once taught, when the mind is at peace, then all things are at peace. When the mind is like a still lake, the moon can reflect. When the mind is disturbed, no matter how bright the moon is, it is distorted and broken. Therefore, to have a peaceful sleep, the first thing is not to turn off the light, not to find a soft pillow, but to turn off the delusions in the mind, calming the endless stream of thoughts flowing fast in one's heart. Those with mindfulness, though sleeping, still keep a peaceful breath. They sleep in awareness, knowing that this body is lying down, knowing that the mind is being rested, knowing that everything in the world will also pass like clouds in the sky. Not trying, not forcing, not demanding, only breathing, only relaxing, only letting each drop of time pass light as morning dew. Therefore, before going to sleep, sit still a bit. Breathing in, no one is breathing in. Breathing out, no one is breathing out. Let go of a long, tired day, the arguments, the winning and losing, the unfinished plans. Let everything fall like autumn leaves, no regret, no keeping. When the mind is light, sleep is also light. When the mind is heavy, even in dreams, it is not quiet. There was a story telling that long ago in India there was a poor woodcutter. Every day he went into the forest to chop wood, brought it to the market to sell, only enough for a meal through the day. Although poor, he always smiled and said thanks to everyone. Everyone liked him because he was gentle, spoke little, and always helped others. Once, a monk passed by, saw him resting under a tree, and asked, "Are you happy?" The woodcutter replied, "Master, I do not have much money, do not have a tall house or wide doors, but each night I sleep well, and each morning I feel my heart is at peace. Is that not happiness?" The monk smiled and said, "Those with mindfulness, though poor, are still rich. Those lacking mindfulness, though rich, are still poor. You can sleep well because your mind is not bound." A mindful person when sleeping is like someone placing a boat in a still lake. Even if the wind blows and waves ripple, the boat does not capsize. That story, although simple, contains a profound lesson. Sleeping well is not because of soft pillows or warm blankets, but because the heart is not entangled. Mindfulness is the lamp in the mind illuminating each dark corner, making us see clearly what is real, what is false, what is worth letting go, what should be kept. When seeing clearly, we have no fear, no suffering. In life, some lie down and sleep, while some toss and turn all night. The difference lies not in the bed, but in the consciousness. Those who know how to practice, each night before sleep, reflect on the day past. They remember good things, send gratitude to those who helped them, and apologize to those they hurt. Then they quietly chant a Buddha's name like a small candle amidst the night. That light guides the consciousness into sleep in peace. Ancient people had a saying, "Sleep in peace at night, wake up with a kind mind in the morning." When we sleep in mindfulness, waking up in the morning, the heart is naturally light-hearted. All luck and convenience in the day are also naturally born. Because the seed sown is peace, the fruit harvested will be good. When the mind is quiet, then good karma blooms. When the mind is disturbed, then karmic suffering follows. So each sleep is exactly an opportunity to sow kind seeds into the consciousness. Someone asked, how to be mindful when sleeping. The Buddha taught, no need to do anything high and distant. Just before sleeping, stop a bit, place the hand on the chest, feel the breath going in and out. Focus the mind on the breath. Do not let it run away. Inhale deep, exhale light like waves washing the shore. Quietly chant Namo Amitabha Buddha or Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Just like that, the body will relax and the mind will be tranquil. When the mind is at peace, good dreams naturally come. A mindful sleep is like a full moon night, not dark and not too bright, just enough to see everything clearly. When sleeping, we no longer find ways to forget life, but return to ourselves to understand that all suffering and worries are just passing clouds. Although clouds are thick, the sky is still blue. Although the wind is strong, the moon is still round. Likewise, although life is full of changes, within us, There is always a silent sky. Just need us to know how to return. In sleepless nights, instead of tossing and turning, instead of opening the phone or thinking, listen to your breath. Imagine each breath is a cool breeze going through the whole body, bringing along tiredness and worries, flowing far away. Let the mind return to the present, where only life is happening. Do not regret the past. Do not worry about the future. Stay with this moment, with this very breath, because that is the door opening to peace, just like a river. If we do not disturb it, the water is naturally clear. In the human mind, it is the same. When not entangled in delusions, it is naturally clear, gentle, and full of love. A person with a still mind, wherever they go, they are at peace. Wherever they sleep, they are quiet. A Zen master once said, "Those who know how to sleep are those who know how to live." Because in a mindful sleep, the body is rested, the mind is nourished, the intellect is illuminated, and blessings are cultivated. Not only the sleep of the physical body, but the sleep of troubles. When the mind sleeps in peace, troubles vanish, and wisdom is born. Sleeping in mindfulness is also learning how to let go. Letting go of a long day, letting go of the words others said, letting go even of what we have not yet done, because life is inherently impermanent. There are happy days, there are sad days, there are things achieved, and things not yet perfect. All are lessons for us to learn how to smile with ourselves. Remember that each sleep is a small death, and each morning waking up is a rebirth. When going to sleep in peace, we wake up in goodness. When going to sleep in trouble, we wake up in tiredness. So before closing your eyes, ask yourself, was I gentle today? Was I grateful? Did I let go? If the answer is yes, then you are ready for a peaceful sleep. Human life is like a train. Daytime is the journey, nighttime is the rest station. If we do not stop, that train will go off the tracks. So let sleep be the peaceful stopping interval of the mind. Do not let the body sleep while the mind is still running. Let everything settle down like water after a rain. Before sleeping, say silent words of gratitude. Thank this body that, although tired, still served us throughout the long day. Thank those around us. Whether they were good or not yet good, they all helped us grow up. Thank life for giving us another day to be alive, to love, to learn how to be tolerant. When the heart is full of gratitude, the mind is naturally light, and when the mind is light, the dreams are beautiful. Sleeping in mindfulness is not sleeping very fast, but sleeping very deep. Deep in the breath, deep in the gratitude, deep in the light of the Buddha's teachings. Then you will feel a warm stream of energy spreading in the body, like a gentle golden light shining throughout the body, soothing each cell, each blood vessel, each ache. The consciousness gradually lets go, the breath gradually becomes even, and sleep comes naturally like a flower blooming in the early morning. And then, when opening the eyes in the morning, you will feel your heart being strangely different, no longer heavy, no longer afraid. Every small thing suddenly becomes lovely. The sound of birds singing, the early morning sun, or a cup of warm water also makes gratitude overflow. That is the energy of mindfulness, the energy making luck, convenience, and joy. Believe that a night of sleeping in peace can change all of tomorrow, because when body and mind are in harmony, kind energy spreads, and the universe also smiles with us. Luck is not from somewhere coming, but born from within the mind. When we are at peace, blessings naturally find us. When we are kind, business is naturally smooth. So tonight, when you close these eyes, close also the troubles. Let the light of compassion wrap you. Let the sound of chanting Buddha's name gently lead you into deep sleep. Sleep very well. Body and mind are tranquil. Tomorrow, waking up, luck and convenience will smile with you.